Okay. Good afternoon. Now it's afternoon. And welcome back to an episode finally of It's No Secret. It's been a little while. So thanks for joining us. Today we're going to talk a little bit about, well, not a little bit, a lot of bit. With Heather Slayton and Tammy Miller of Washington County Mental Health Services about something new and different and super exciting for this area, especially right now, as we know some services are shutting down. And Heather, I know I've talked to you about the fact that Central Vermont Substance Abuse is closing its doors. There's not going to be any place for people to go anymore, which is frightening. But that, among a lot of other things you all do, and very grateful to have you here with me and to be talking about and introducing this new service that you all are providing. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're very glad to be here and excited to talk about this new launch. And you're right, lots of things are closing down. And while we can't replace all of them, we are excited to have something new opening. And Tammy is the director of a couple things. So we're going to hear all about this one from her.
All right. So initially, I've worked for Washington County for several years. The last 5 years, I've been the director of home intervention, which is a short-term crisis facility at Washington County Mental Health that provides 24/7 care to individuals who need to be in an environment where they have that 24/7 supervision, but they don't quite need to be in a hospital. It allows us to provide some community integration. However, I'm super excited about the new program. It's called the Access Hub. It's going to be at 34 Berry Street in Montpelier, Downingside. The Access Hub is a program that's based off a living room model. The idea of it is that individuals can come into the program and receive immediate support from a multidisciplinary team of experts, including peer staff, a clinician, a case manager, a psychiatric provider, and even nursing services if necessary. So I'm very excited about this. We'll serve anyone over the age of 18 who's experiencing a mental health crisis. And yeah, so I'm very excited about that program.
And where is it going to be in Montpelier?
34 Berry Street.
34 Berry Street.
And it's going to be located between our Sunrise Wellness Center and Maple House.
That was going to be my next question. Is it close to that?
It sounded familiar, didn't
same
it?
building.
Yes.
Same building. So what's really exciting is that we're going to integrate this program into using both of those programs. So if an individual comes in and really their crisis is isolation, then they can be integrated into the Sunrise Wellness Center. If folks are coming in to meet basic needs, such as they're an unhoused individual and they need a shower, then they can access the showers there. If they maybe have a trauma history and haven't slept the night before, we have a bed where they can safely sleep and not feel unsafe. So there's that. We also want our services to be open to individuals with substance use disorders. So that's something that, we're really aware of that's affecting our community. And this program is to bring some health and wellness to the community. So maybe someone comes in and they're pre-contemplative and they're not quite ready to have their next steps and maybe go into, like Valley Vista or some kind of a longer term program. But what we can do is we can provide them support. We can give them their options and refer them out to community resources. We have so many wonderful community partners that we'll be working with. So it's very exciting.
Definitely very exciting. So the goal is to you and I kind of talked about this for a few minutes before we went on, is to really not always, but sometimes be a place to land other than the ER, and just
Yes.
a space where you're getting met with your specific need and not necessarily let me check your blood pressure and temperature and ask you a million questions that may or may not pertain to you, where you're more wanting to jump in on the actual, these are your needs and we're here to help you.
Absolutely. So not every circumstance requires the emergency department. Not every person needs a locked room. Some people really benefit from having that outpatient support. So coming in, identifying what the challenge is, and having those immediate resources in place to help individuals, and then send them back to the community so that they can rely on their own self-determination to continue on. And we're a resource where they could come back multiple times. We will be providing brief case management, brief therapy if necessary. And what that means is maybe someone needs to come in and they need to meet with a therapist once. Maybe they need to meet with them 6 times, but they're still returning to the community. They don't require that inpatient level of care.
I think a lot of people who feel like they may be nearing a crisis or maybe even in a crisis would be surprised to find out that even though that's how they feel in the moment, they are very capable of helping themselves. So if they come in the door at the Access Hub and fill us in, let us know how you're feeling, whether you know what you need or not, just let us know how you're feeling, and the folks in there can help start you on the path to decide what would be the most helpful thing for you in the moment and going forward, at least short term. And I think that people are going to be able to find out that they can navigate at least part of that path for themselves without having to, like Tammy said, go sit in a room and be asked 100 questions that they're going to be frustrated by because it doesn't feel like it's getting them what they need. And while we understand those are questions that the hospitals have to ask you,
Right.
but then you're going to be camping in a room alone, potentially for hours while you wait for anything that feels productive to happen. You won't be getting that at the Access Hub. You're going to be meeting with people who are attentive and understanding and who are getting you what you need immediately. Even if that just means attention right now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're immediately getting a therapy session, but it means that you're getting your basic needs met. It means that you're being connected to a resource, not just told about one. And it means that you can find it easily. You're going to come in, you're going to get a need met. You're not going to leave wondering what the next step is. And I think today, especially, the coolest part is the cost.
So this program is free to any guest who participates. So if an individual comes in, we're not collecting health insurance information. There's no charge, and we are going to try to provide them the same level of care that we would.
I'm gonna put the mic a little.
Oh,
bit closer.
sorry. I'm not close enough to the mic.
Pull it right towards you if you need to, honey, just because. There.
Okay. So having the program free of cost to the guests that we serve, I think, is the biggest perk of the program. The second biggest, I would say, is that individuals can maintain their jobs, right? So if someone comes in and they're employed, they can't really miss work maybe to go to an inpatient setting. So that's a huge plus as well.
Right. You never know how long you're going to be out. If you
Right.
walk into the emergency department and they decide they're admitting you,
Right.
you have no idea what discharge might look like or when it might happen. And if they say, yeah, we're discharging you tomorrow at noon, that could really mean 6 o'clock at night. And good luck. explaining it to your boss, feeling comfortable explaining it,
Right.
getting out of that hospital, how you're going to get home
Mhm.
if somebody dropped you off. I
Mhm.
mean, here you're walking in off of Berry Street.
So let's talk about that a little bit. What does it look like to walk in? So we walk in, and I assume there's some sort of like reception area. How does the process work?
So we are embedded within the Sunrise Wellness program. We do have our own entry point. So that is right between the Maple House door and the Sunrise door. Individuals who come in will be greeted by a peer staff. So a peer staff is someone who has who is identified as someone who has lived experience with mental illness, who's willing to identify themselves and use that in a way to connect with the individuals we serve. So you'll be greeted by the peer staff. They'll greet you, kind of assess what brings you in today and how can we best serve you. At that point, the individual may indicate that they need a little bit of case management. Maybe they are not maybe they've lost a job and they don't have health insurance. So the case manager would help folks fill out the forms to get connected with health insurance. If the individual came in and was really struggling and needed a therapy appointment, then they would meet with our clinician. We do have separate offices where we can triage folks. So they would come in that initial door, but then if they needed to meet with a clinician, they'd go into an office, they would have a session. If the clinician determined that they needed to see a psychiatric provider, we do have a psychiatric provider available daily. So they may also be able to meet with that psychiatric provider. If it's an individual who is needing to meet their basic needs, they come in and they don't have any food in the house, they don't have any money to buy food, we are connected with the Access Hub is connected to Sunrise, and there is a food shelf on site, but also they provide really nice midday meals. So that's something that folks could participate in.
So what are the type of things that you envision people coming in for? Would you envision somebody that was struggling with addiction to come in?
Absolutely.
And say, do you know what programs? Do you know where the meetings are? When you say Access Hub, are you kind of like you literally want to be the hub for all information in regards to mental health services, which is like a huge umbrella. Mental health services is, like we talked about it, that doesn't mean like that you're schizophrenic or just this one, it's
Right.
a huge umbrella.
That's a good point.
Right. So the idea is that we connect people with as many community resources as they need, regardless of what those resources may be. So if it's food, we connect them with food banks and daily food offerings at maybe churches. If they are in need of substance use services, then anywhere from Turning Point to maybe we sit and make that really hard call with them to Valley Vista. Sometimes folks just need someone to sit with them while they make that initial call. But yes, it is a place that we are hoping that we'll have as many resources as possible to offer individuals and kind of walk them through that process. What we're finding is folks don't know what the resources are that are out there, and this is a place where they could get them. Even if it was a parent whose child was struggling with substance use, they might need some support around that, and they could come in and get that information as well. It's not just the individual who is struggling with a crisis, but it extends to the family members as well.
It sure does.
And another nice thing about this is that anybody can refer somebody to the Access Hub. So in a lot of cases, like even when you call us for services, if somebody is over the age of 18 and their own guardian, they need to call themselves. You can help a person call, you can be with them, but they actually have to ask for services on their own.
Right.
But in the case of the Access Hub, anybody can refer somebody to the Access Hub.
which is nice.
It is.
It is.
And so, what are the hours that this is available to people?
So we're starting out with 8 to 4, and we'll be modifying the hours as needed. So the hope is to eventually become open from 7 to 7. And we really need to figure out when are the majority of folks coming in. If folks are coming in at 11 o'clock, maybe we have it open from 11 to 11. So it's going to be a little bit of a guessing game while we align our services with the hours that are available to the individuals we serve. But it will be 8 to 4 for at least probably the first month.
And do we know yet what some of the offerings are, or will that kind of be the same thing? You're playing it by ear. Like, will there be group type counselings or things that you do as you move on to see what the needs are?
Yeah, we will be expanding our services as we identify the needs that are coming in. So if the majority of individuals are coming in for substance use challenges, then perhaps we bring in someone, a counselor that sets up a group for substance use services. But we won't know until folks start
until they
coming
start
in.
coming.
Yeah.
It could just be a group of stressed out moms that
Absolutely
want to come and
yeah.
have a Wellness Wednesday on
Right.
on a regular basis or
Well,
something.
right.
You know, you
You never
never know.
know.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's so, it just feels like there's so much to talk about now, more than ever, but we don't talk about it. We
Right.
Right.
there's so much stigma with a whole range of things, and substance use disorder is just one, but mental health or being a parent that is struggling trying to juggle everything there is to juggle, or the stresses at work, and no daycare maybe, or the way
Right.
schools have changed, and there's just so many things now that I think there are a lot of people that go home at night and they lay their head down and they feel shame about something.
Yeah.
And that's that's horribly sad. I do the same thing sometimes. I do. I lay down and think, God, I wish I didn't do that way, or I hate that people view me this way, or for me, there's a ton of people that view me as this horrible monster, this evil person that they have no idea what I would do, and that sometimes that evil is the fact that I would literally walk through fire. For most, I would.
Right. And most of us realize that.
But you know, I get very passionate, and sometimes it's hard. It's a lot to deal with. Actually, it's a lot to have on your shoulders to think, oh, I break that up so bad, and try to rebound from that. And then there's also a time where you need to just step back and say, it doesn't matter. It's okay. That things are that way, but that's hard for some of us to come to grips with. It's okay.
Right.
So, you know, shame has come up a lot recently. So I'm glad that you had said that.
Yep.
And the Access Hub is a great place for folks to come in if they're feeling overwhelmed or overburdened with feelings such as shame. So I would just really invite people to come on in, see what we're about, see how we can help folks. And whether it be that you're having intense feelings but not quite at a crisis, it doesn't hurt to stop in and see how we can help out in that situation, or what resources we can provide, but especially what we can provide on site. I feel like we just have such a wonderful group of folks working for this program that, you know, folks would benefit from this free service.
Right.
And just to answer a question for Jennifer Seaton, the telephone number is 802-301-3200, and the access is the Access Hub at wctv.org. mhs.org. And the location is 34 Berry Street in Montpelier.
And that's on the Downing side of the
yeah,
road.
the entrance is on the Downing side.
Right.
The
So,
street.
so just so folks can get a visual, when you're on Berry Street and you're at 34 Berry Street, looking from the street, the front of the building, you see our Polaris program. When you walk up Downing Street and you're looking at the building from that side, the first door is our Sunrise program. And then moving up, you'll see the door in the middle, which will soon have a sign on it. That will be the access hub. And then the last door is Maple House. So it'll be the door in the center will be the access hub.
Nice.
Once it has a sign up, it will be very obvious.
Yes.
But we're
So
waiting
We're working
on, the
on
sign.
it. Yeah.
So everything is open and running now?
October 2nd. I'm
October.
sorry.
Oh, you're good.
2nd.
You're good.
I'm used to being here alone.
You're not
I love it.
alone.
I didn't forget you were there. I'm just so used to it. We're not alone, and neither is anybody else. And
That's
here's one more
right.
way that you can join us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hop on in after
I love
October 2nd, 8 to 4.
Which is amazing.
Coming right
I mean,
up. It's next
it
week.
It is coming up.
Yes.
Quick.
Just waiting on that sign. No.
Yeah.
And a few other
Yes.
things.
A couple other things. Yeah.
So what will the space be like? What can people expect?
Okay, so the initial space is it's a very humble entryway, which we will greet people. And just remember that at Washington County, we want to do as much as possible with the space that we have. So it is a very humble little entryway where folks will be greeted by our fabulous peer staff. And then from that point, individuals will go like in the direction of the service we're providing. So if someone is needing food, they're going to go into a large common area that's part of Sunrise and maybe have a warm meal and sit and have some tea with folks. If an individual needs counseling services, they will have a counseling session in a private room in a private office with the clinician. We'll also be using an office that's part of Polaris, which is the front of the building, for sessions as well, either with the case manager or the clinician. And then, so one group of folks we didn't talk about are folks who come in and maybe they fell down on the street, they have a little laceration, or they need diabetic counseling, or they need medication reconciliation. We also have a nurse who will be providing those services.
And what about age range?
Age range 18 and older.
Okay.
So, and it can be anyone that's 18 and over.
And so if you're a parent with a young child that may be struggling in school, that's not...
Well, technically,
So-
if the parent was in distress because of that, the parent could come in and get some advice.
Okay.
Right. But
We could give the
the
parent-
program
right, we
isn't
could-
set up for children.
Right.
It's
And
not
you-
set up
but
for
you
children,
could
but
refer
we could give the
to
parent the
services that
information
are.
they need.
Right.
Okay. So
But not the
18 and
child.
older.
We couldn't serve
Correct.
the child, but we
Right.
could give the parent the
Free of
information.
charge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So have we touched on everything?
I mean, I think we have.
These girls are going to check
It's
their
fully-
nurses,
it is fully
their
accessible.
notes and
Fully
nurses
ADA
I
compliant.
see,
Yeah.
referrals, mental health, peer counseling. Yeah. I think we have all kinds of great things.
Yeah.
So what about your
exciting.
team?
So an amazing team of folks. So I'm the director of the program. And then, so it's a collaboration of Washington County folks. So we have Penny Martin, who is the director of recovery and peer services. So she is she's overseeing the peer staff. Then we have Jackie Jones, and she's the adult access program coordinator, and she will be overseeing the case manager and clinician. Then the nurse is Brianna Morris, and she works at home intervention, but will be spending some time at Access Hub. Who else do I
I know
wanna say?
her very well, Brianna.
Oh, do you?
absolute sweetheart.
Yeah.
So I can totally picture her doing that. Doing
It's
all of
totally
that.
up her alley. It's going to be great.
Very much so.
Yeah.
My mind
That's
can't
awesome.
believe she's old enough to be a nurse.
I know. I know. It's super scary thought, isn't it? But
Must be
she's
time
damn
for me to
good at what
retire.
she does.
Yes,
And
she
so
is.
that makes me super happy
Yeah.
because she's just an incredible lady herself, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And then we
Yeah.
have Mark Perry, who's the clinician, and Nicole Brothers, who's the case manager. We have a handful of peer staff. So we have Rebecca Grant, we have Callie Hunton, Manny Carrasco, Michelle Stevens. So it's a really wonderful team of folks.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Wow. And
Am I forgetting someone? Ann Brzezinski is our psychiatric provider.
mhm.
So
And then supports that you have for this, who I mean it's free, so
Okay.
nothing is
Great.
free.
yes.
Yes.
So Karen Curley, she's the director of ICS. She responded to a RFP, which is a request for proposal, and for a living room model program. And that is how it was funded. So they fully funded the request.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And so lots of work for all of you to maintain that and keep it going, all of these
Yeah.
these funds. So will at some point we be looking for contributions and donations and things to keep it going, or do you hope to just kind of
So we'll see. At this point, it's a 2-year grant. So we know that it's
Wonderful.
going to be operational for a minimum of 2 years. The hope is if we have a high enough census, if people are interested enough, that we can continue the program and extend it beyond those
by
2
getting
years.
the government to agree that this
That-
is something that we truly need in this world, and hello,
That would
all
be
the
helpful.
money that we give away to so many things and the lack of response to
True
mental
need.
health and
Yes.
true need is it's disgusting. Really, it is absolutely disgusting because the fix for a whole lot of things, including homelessness and hunger and all kinds of things, the fix to that is mental health. And if you can really aid in those and help people feel grounded and find themselves and find a space and believe in themselves enough to be independent and know that they can do it, that's huge.
Yeah.
And yeah, the lack of funds by the government is something that just truly pisses me off. And the lack
I
of
hear you.
the lack of support. I know you
I
do,
know.
and it's super frustrating.
It is frustrating.
And I can't imagine being in your world and trying to figure it all out, trying to make it all happen, and being told no all the time. Because let's face it, you're told no a lot, and then you're on your own trying to figure it out. And you guys wear a lot of hats.
But
How
I
many
think
people
Few.
how many people did you say a year? You say it all the time, like that you guys help, that you all help.
Oh gosh.
It's thousands.
It's in Washington County.
Yeah,
It was just over 5,000
yeah,
last year.
crazy. That's
That's
crazy
just
to me.
enrolled. That's not counting like how many family members and neighbors does that help,
Mm-hmm.
and how many people do we see in the community that are not
Right.
enrolled?
How much help does
And-
that give our community? What you all do? That's the
Right.
thing. The
I mean,
give back
we
is huge.
just at Wellness Wednesday, and we don't keep track of whether people are enrolled that are coming in services or whether they're business owners or just community members or staff. because we don't want people to have to identify when they're walking in for
Right.
a free massage, just like,
Right.
come enjoy yourself, please. You need this. You've earned this, whatever. 579 unique services during Wellness Wednesday in 2022.
Wow, that's so wonderful. That is
So-
fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible.
So
Yeah.
just in that one type of community service.
Crazy.
So, and we're trying to expand on those. This is obviously a nice new way to do that.
Yes,
Right.
it is.
So,
and
that
maybe
we're
we can
grateful to
have-
be able to provide.
And maybe we can eventually get to a point in time where we have more of these access hubs throughout the state in different
Right.
counties and different towns and cities,
Right.
and because of the need.
Right.
It's huge,
It'd
and
be
it's
nice
a no,
if
it's
we
a
could
no
provide it in
brainer.
more than one place. But for now,
Right.
this is what we have, and I feel like I personally feel like Montpelier is a great place to have it. I think if you drive through or walk through Montpelier, that visually the need is obvious for folks to have a place where they can just walk in and say, I need this, whatever that is. And I feel like the list of things covered through the Access Hub is long enough that they are able to meet a lot of those needs. Or
And I
at
think the
least
goal-
find somebody that can,
Yeah.
to be able to connect you to whatever.
Right.
If they might not be able to fix it the day you walk in, but they might be able to connect you to a lot of it. And it's a great start.
And I think one of the goals is to prevent barriers. So
Yes.
this is where people can get off a bus because it's right on a bus route, and they can walk into the program, receive services without a wait list. So immediate services, immediate need met,
Easy access.
immediate referrals out into the
It's
community.
not an
No
emergency
cost.
room where somebody's
Right.
there in the waiting room
cost.
with a broken arm and you've got somebody else sick and
Yes.
all of these other things happening and all of the commotion, maybe an ambulance coming in and
Right.
all of that can be
And you're not waiting 4 hours to be seen.
right.
Right.
Or 6 months.
Right. And
Yeah.
a lot of that is extremely emotional and overwhelming for
Yes.
people. And so and again, you're not saying don't access the ER because there are
Right,
situations
there are times,
where
yes.
you need emergency help. There are
Right.
situations that this is not the fit. And there's certainly after hours. Like if you need help and it's 7:30 and they closed at 4, please go get help.
Absolutely.
Don't wait.
Right.
Because you do work with the hospital.
We do.
And so
I can imagine that sometimes folks don't access the hospital because they don't have insurance or adequate insurance to access the hospital. In that case, Access Hub is a wonderful place because it's free of charge. However, if an individual does present at Access Hub and we determine that they need hospital level care, we will refer them to the hospital. So we're very aware of what our abilities are. And if someone has an acute psychosis or maybe they are so acutely suicidal that they can't be managed or like in an outpatient setting, then those folks really do need that hospital level care. But we want to help as many people as possible in the community when we can.
and because you work with the hospital, I'm assuming that they refer right back to Washington County.
Yes.
If somebody is there after hours that presents and it's somebody who doesn't necessarily need emergent, care for one of those circumstances, but they just need a little help. You have screeners that go up to the hospital, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's nice to know that all of that ties together. And
Yes.
so, and that you work together because that's not always the case either. This, in every place you go, it's not the case.
It is likely that the hospital will refer folks to us. Sometimes people present at the hospital that don't need that level of care. So we want to open up Access Hub and say, hey, if you feel like you have someone who's up there and they're in the waiting room and they don't need hospital level care, just refer them to us, and we'll see what we can do in this environment. And we will send people up to the hospital as necessary. So, real community partnership.
Which is good to see.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this will also be shared with law enforcement so that they know, if they're looking at somebody who might not be really somebody they want to call the screeners over, but they do have a concern about, that they'll also know that the access
To
hub is there
refer.
for them too. Yeah.
So, the Access Hub is just one of very few things that you all have worked on this year, come out with. You have your suicide prevention stuff happening, the 24-hour access to mental health. We give that number out a lot and post it a lot.
Yes.
Y'all are working really hard to provide as much as you possibly can.
We are. And we've got our short-term crisis counseling that's for folks who've been affected by the flood. So if you're not looking for long-term services and have been affected by the flood, or even if you are looking for long-term services but have been affected by the flood and need to talk to somebody about the flood stress, then you can call and tell people, I need to talk to somebody about my flood stress, and that will get you immediately connected to one of the 12 of us on that crisis team.
And you'll
And
give us
that
that
is-
number?
And that's our regular 2290591 number. But if you specifically say you're calling to talk to someone about your flood stress, that will get you immediately connected with one of us. There's no wait list, and there's also no cost. And you get 3 to 5 sessions with us for that purpose. And there's no record kept. So if you're not looking for services, then you won't have a mental health record. So, if you're going to go join the service next month or something, then they won't know that you sought mental health services.
Right. God forbid.
I know.
Wonderful.
Or whatever else that might exclude you from. Because I know there are things. So, we've got that going for a nice long while still. Wellness Wednesday starts tomorrow at
Yes,
Summer
it
Street.
does.
So if you would like to avoid as much stress as you can, call 479-4055 and book yourself for whatever spots might be open for next week still, or for tomorrow still. It's not next week, it's tomorrow.
Right. Tomorrow.
And it will be ongoing through November 8th on the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays. And it's all upstairs now, remember, because the downstairs is still washed away. But we are flexible, so we're all just upstairs now. And the door for that is on the Pearl Street side of the building, up the little uphill driveway. So,
Right. And
park
if
as
you
you can.
park.
If you can park, if you can walk up the driveway, then park in our regular lot downstairs or across the street and walk up. If you cannot walk up the driveway, then you can park up in the back lot and access it that way. So 4:30 to 7 tomorrow night. And then we will
Awesome.
also be at the open house. I think that's what it's called. I can't remember. For Berry Up. I think open house or grand opening. I forgot. It's too many things, but we are there tomorrow night from 6 to 8. So Gary Gordon will actually be there because
gonna
I will
say,
be at
you'll
Wellness.
be at
I can't
Wellness
actually
Wednesday.
split
How can
myself
you-
in half.
Right.
I will be there when Wellness Wednesday wraps tomorrow night. So from 6 to 8, we'll have a presence at that opening. So Gary will be there just as our voice to review our services and our part in that Berry Up. And I will make sure that I'm dropping off our materials with Sean
And now you have more.
prior to that event.
Right. And now you have more services to add.
We do. And yeah, I'm excited to bring that. I think I emailed it to Sean yesterday though, just so people would know about it in advance. And then Thursday night, we will have materials on the table. Brenda Waterhouse was kind enough to be accepting of our materials at the Berry City Elementary Middle School open house.
Wonderful.
And then October 5th, I will be at the Berry Town Middle and Elementary School manning that open house.
Nice.
So yeah, we have lots of stuff happening,
Mm-hmm.
and our information is
I guess so.
virtually everywhere. It's also, we have lots of information at the Montpelier Flood Resource Center as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
And your little cards are everywhere.
they're
The little
almost
crisis line
everywhere in
cards.
this
That's
whole
fantastic.
county
Mm-hmm.
and in the 3 Orange County towns we serve of Washington, Orange, and Williamstown.
Well, now you need to hop to it and get some
These
new
will
cards
also
out
go out
that say
everywhere.
the Access Hub.
We
Well,
sure do.
they're ready almost. We just have to print them.
So you do have the cards to go out.
Everything's designed, so
Mhm.
it's just got to go out. I did not design them. I'm not going to pretend I did. They're very nice though.
Well, good. And
So-
it'll have all it will have all of the information that we talked about today, I'm assuming, or close to
Well,
it.
the flyers
will,
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
The cards will have mostly just contact
Just the
information.
contact
Mhm.
information.
Sure. So
Yeah.
people can grab one and have it if they need it. Yeah.
Which
But
is
they'll
awesome.
be posted together, so they can
Which
be
is
like, look at all
awesome.
that information. I better take a card.
And that's the thing too. So if somebody were to call you, or even your crisis line now, and they call, you can refer them to the Access
Yes.
Hub as well.
Yeah.
After you've assessed their needs, or someone that comes in
people
for
who
the
answer the
flood
phone. Yeah.
counseling, or
yes.
if they've come in and you've talked to them a little bit and you know what their need is, this might be a resource for them that's going to
Absolutely.
work well and be ongoing and able to help out a little more.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. We're very excited about this.
So hiring, I'm assuming.
Always.
I mean, you keep building and building and building what you do. So
Absolutely. So realistically, I mean, we always have openings and always looking for awesome people. So our recruiters, Dan and Moselle, have a number of job fairs they'll be attending. I don't have that complete list in front of me, but if people want to follow the Washington County Mental Health Services Facebook page,
and Heather will send me the list and I'll share it.
I
too.
will. But Dan and Moselle, as far as I can tell, are always posting the job fair list, like where they're going to be, like, hey, come find us
Mhm.
on our Facebook page.
Nice.
So
Okay.
yeah, and also pick one. Also,
Mm-hmm.
every flyer we have for the Access Hub, for the short-term crisis counseling, for wherever we're going to be and what we're doing is listed on that Facebook page. So if people are following it, it's pretty easy to keep up with
follow
what's
them
new,
on
where
Facebook.
we
Yes.
are.
Washington County Mental Health
Yeah.
Services.
If you want to come shoot spitballs at me at an event, you'll know where I am if you're following that Facebook page.
Which is nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes
one,
it easy.
One easy place to see
Yes.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is by far the easiest way to keep people up to date. So there and your pages, because you share everything that I put on that Facebook page
We do.
or that recruiting puts on there.
And we talk about it. And
Yeah.
sometimes, well, not sometimes. I think I'll probably refer JD to the Access Hub. He needs help.
If you don't, Sherilyn will.
Yeah. I think
We'll
he
help
needs
him.
help. He
Send him
needs-
down.
Yeah.
I don't know. You girls will have your work cut out for you. That's all I've got to say.
We're ready.
Yeah.
I would have to say that he would be well served and everybody there can handle it.
Yeah, they can.
Yep.
Mhm.
They can handle it.
For
That's
sure.
saying something right there.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I'd have to tell Penny to get more groceries, but otherwise,
Right, right,
true.
exactly. You
the
would need
boy's
you
an eater. But otherwise,
you'd
it's
need
fine.
way more food. So any last thoughts or comments or
I just hope people come to check us out if they're feeling that they need a little extra support.
yeah.
So October 2nd, we'll be up and running.
Yes.
Yeah, let's give the address and the phone number again.
Sure. So it's 34 Berry Street in Montpelier. And the telephone number is 802-301-3200.
And they can find you on the web.
They sure can. So our address is the Access Hub at wcmhs.org. And we can also be found on the Washington County Mental Health Services homepage
Which is wonderful.
and Facebook page.
And Facebook page.
Yes.
And I'm really hoping that when they say if you build it, they will come is true,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because it is there. So please, please, if you need any of the services,
Right, and we all
Mhm.
know that the need is there.
please come.
And the
Yes.
need is there for a host of reasons, and it's not.
Even if you're looking for just a snack in a shower,
Yeah,
if that is all you need, that is enough to
yeah.
drop in for.
And there is no one title to any of this, and
No.
that's the biggest message that I always share, is that there's no one word for
Right.
mental health. It can mean something different for me, for you,
Yep.
for you. It
Doesn't have to be
It
a big
doesn't-
need.
No.
It when we say we want to meet the most basic need, it can be the most basic need. Nothing is too
Mhm.
little
Mm-hmm.
to feel like it's not enough to come in.
Right.
But if you're struggling, don't stay at home struggling alone.
Yes.
Right.
We're there to support folks.
Right.
And that's the biggest message right there, is that nobody's alone.
That's
You're
right.
you're not. And so,
Absolutely.
all right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you, ladies, for coming. I appreciate you so
Thank you
very
for
much.
having
Thank you
us.
for having us.
And next week, we'll be right back here for It's No Secret at noon, and live on Aired Out. Soon to be Fly on the Wall Productions. So we are transitioning now. The page is gonna just the page name is going to change. So we are now transitioning from Aired Out to Fly on the Wall, where Aired Out is in one show. Aired Out Shits and Giggles. Oh, that's one. And then on Fly on the Wall Productions will be It's No Secret, Four Quarters, Barry Beat. So we're just trying to put us all under one roof, one location, which we all are now. But we will stream live from Fly on the Wall Productions, which is currently aired out. So make sure to keep watch. If you see that little change and you see the logos change, that's all it is. It's the one that we've been posting, or it is posted right now on the Facebook page. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow morning with JD Green for Aired Out and the Morning Shits and Giggles. Thanks for tuning in. Love you.